Back to the online classes of physics. This is your name is back again with a new topic of is matter pure. We are going to learn in this topic today suspension and colloids. Suspension, say for example, if you're taking a chalk powder and just you're adding into a test tube. Okay, simply we'll take chalk powder and we'll add this into a test tube. Okay, and to this test tube we will add some water. Okay, we will add some water. Now you see that this chalk powder, just on stirring you will see that chalk powder is dissolved. Okay, now we will leave this chalk powder, and first what we will do, we'll pass the rays of light, we'll pass the ray of light through this test tube. Okay, through this test tube, and we will observe the light is coming out of the, light is coming out of the test tube. Okay, out of this solution, whatever solution is there, it is passing it. Okay, it is passing and coming out of the solution. And when you try to filter it, when you try to filter this solution, you will see that small chalk particles are being separated and the water is being separated separately. We can see the separation of this. And whatever, like after, when we keep it for settling, when we settle this solution, you will see that this chalk powder gets settled here and the water is simply remained like this. Okay, so this is nothing but suspension. Okay, this solution is called as suspension. The chalk powder is getting mixed with water. This is nothing but it is called as suspension. So what is suspension? When we find the particles of chalk did not dissolve but remained suspended throughout the volume of the water, so this is heterogeneous mixture. It's an example of heterogeneous mixture. You can say that it's an example of heterogeneous mixture. Because the solute particles did not dissolve and the particles are visible to our naked eyes, such heterogeneous mixtures are called as suspensions. What are they called? They are called as suspensions. Suspensions are the heterogeneous mixtures of a solid and a liquid in which the solid does not dissolve, like mixture of soil and water. You can take one more example, that is mixture of soil and water. So this is nothing but it is called as suspension. In the other ways, when the solute is dissolving in the solution, then what it is called? It is nothing but it is called as colliding solution. Colloidal solution. It's called as colloidal solution. For example, we are taking milk. Okay, we are taking milk and adding in a test tube. We are adding this into a test tube, and in this test tube we are even adding some water. Okay, we are mixing both this solution, and the solution which is formed out of this is called as colloidal solution. Fine, it is called as colloidal solution, milk plus water. Now what we are going to observe, we are just going to pass the light. Okay, we are going to pass the light through this solution as we have done in our suspension. Okay, suspension solution. What do we see? The rays are coming out of it. The rays, you can see the rays are, scatter of beams are visible. Okay, the direct beam of light from the torch we are passing through this, or a laser light you can pass through this, and we observe that the path of beam of light is visible. Okay, the light path or the rays of light are visible out of this solution. Okay, they are visible. And when you keep for settling down, once you keep this solution to settle down, you see that there is no settlement of solute particles down. You can see no settling. Okay, the solution will be like that only for, as you kept, it will be like that only, it will be undisturbed. And the third one what we did in there was filtering. When we just do filtering to this, we filter the solution, you see that no solute particles are being separated. There are no solid particles separated. You can see that the mixture is, they don't have any solid particles. So that means the milk has collided, milk particles had collided with the water particles. So that means they have mixed perfectly. This is an example of homogeneous mixture. Fine. So you can see that there is no, the colloidal solutions are also heterogeneous solution in nature, but always they consist of at least two phases. They consist of at least two phases. They are the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. They have dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. They have dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So depending upon the physical states, you can have dispersed phase and dispersed medium. What is dispersed phase? Dispersed phase is the substance at present in the small proportion and consists of particles of colloidal state. So, dispersion medium is in which the colloidal particles are dispersed. There is no presence. You can see that they are totally dispersed, and it is called as dispersion medium. You can see, like for example, we have, in our daily lives we see that the when we pass through the trees, where n number of so many trees, and this, when you walk through these trees, you see that they are, this one light rays are coming out of that small small beams. Like we'll see that dust particles are, flowing in that and rotating in that. That is nothing but it is called as Tyndall effect. So that is nothing but a Tyndall effect. The scattered beam of light which is visible to us is called as Tyndall effect. So that rays, simply see morning hours, or the when you open the windows, you see that some rays will be coming out of through your windows. So that rays will be having some dust particles, that shows that scattered beam of light is coming, which is visible to us, isn't it? How cute they look, the rays which are coming out of your windows, isn't it? Those are nothing but Tyndall effect. It was given by after the scientist Tyndall, who discovered it. So let us see what is the difference between the suspension and the colloid. Suspensions are heterogeneous. Even the colloids are heterogeneous mixtures. Okay, both are heterogeneous mixture. Then you can see the particles of suspension can be seen with our naked eyes. We can see this with our naked eyes. This cannot be seen with our naked eyes, isn't it? Cannot be seen with our naked eyes. The particles of suspension scatter a beam of light passing through it and makes it visible, path visible. Here you can see the particles are big enough to scatter of light passing through it, which makes it path visible. Here you can see the particles of suspension scatter of a beam of light. Okay, beam of light can pass through it, and beam can pass through it, and you can see the light visible. Here you can see a big, big size of particle, big beam of light can be passing through it, isn't it? Big beam of light can pass through it, and you can see that it is having a visible, clear visible path. The solute particles settle down when a suspension is kept undisturbed. Okay, you can see that when it is kept undisturbed, you can see that the particles are, settling down. Particles settle down, isn't it? But here you can see there is no settling. Particles don't settle as they collide when they are kept undisturbed. Also collide is quite, it is stable. It don't get settled. It is stable. Then this here you can see the suspension is unstable. Suspension is unstable, and the colloids are stable. The components can be separated from the mixture by so many processes. They can be separated by using the different process of separation. The components cannot be separated. These cannot be separated by any process like the suspensions. They cannot be separated from the mixture by any process of filtration or decantation. Centrifuge technique is used in this separation. When we use the centrifugation, like we have learned in our previous classes what is centrifugation. So in the process of centrifugation, only the liquid can be, the particles of these colloids can be separated. So the process of separation is nothing but how we are going to separate the mixtures. As we have learned about the two mixtures are being, they get combined and form another mixture, right? So how we are going to separate that, we are going to learn here. So we are having here three separation methods. We are going to learn about sublimation. We are going to learn about second method, that is evaporation. And next is paper chromatography. We are going to learn about these three methods here in this video. Fine. Sublimation. So what is sublimation? So here, as the picture shows, we have one conical flask, we have one burner, isn't it? We have placed this in one stand. So let us do the process of sublimation. So we are just taking here 1 tablespoon of ammonium chloride and 1 tablespoon of common salt. We are taking what? Ammonium chloride and 1 tablespoon of salt. We are going to just mix both of this, and we'll take this mixture in a china glass. Okay, we'll just take this mixture in a china glass as shown in the figure. Then take a just glass funnel. We are just first we are going to take this in our we are going to take the mixture in this china glass, and then we are going to take a funnel and simply place this funnel on this. Put the mouth of the plug the mouth of the funnel with cotton. Simply we are just going to cover the mouth of this with cotton. Okay, then invert this funnel over the petri dish as it is shown in the figure there, picture. Heat the dish on the stove and observe the walls of the funnel. Simply we are going to observe, as we have placed it here on this, we are going to observe the walls of the funnel. Okay, simply we are going to fix it like this, and then we are going to see what is the observation on the walls of the funnel. Okay. Initially we find the vapors of ammonium chloride. We will see that vapors are coming out of the of ammonium chloride, and then they solidifies here. Okay, this solidifies here on the funnel here like this. Okay, it does solidifies. So whatever like a salt will be present here, salt will be kept here only in the it will be present back in this petri dish, china dish, but whatever the ammonium chloride is there, it will go and settle down here onto the walls of the funnel, and this you can separate it later. You can just remove it easily. Okay, then the next separation process is evaporation. We have already learned about the process of evaporations in our previous classes, isn't it? So here we will do an experiment. What we are going to do, we are just going to take a beaker as shown here in the figure picture. You can see that we have taken a beaker, and in this beaker we have added water. Half of it is added with water. Simply we are adding water here. This is the water, and keep a watch glass on the mouth of the beaker. Simply we are covering this mouth with the beaker, watch glass. Okay, mouth of the beaker we are covering it with the watch glass as shown in the picture there. Then few drops of ink we are adding here. Okay, we will add here few drops of ink on the watch glass. Now we will start heating the mixture. Now we will start heating this mixture. What do we observe? We observe some of the fumes are coming from the watch glass. This continue heating till you do not observe any further change on the watch glass. A small residue will be remained on the watch glass. We know that ink is a mixture of a dye in water. The residue remained on the watch glass is nothing but ink. Okay, so we know we are just filled this beaker, and simply we are giving, we are passing away some heat here. So what is happening, this glass gets heated up, and whatever this ink plus water is there now, this ink is consisting of dye and water, isn't it? So what we are doing, when we are just heating it up, the water gets evaporated, and whatever left product, the dry product is seen, that is nothing but your dye. Okay, this is one of the method, that is dye is separated from water. And next method is paper chromatography. In this method, what we are going to do, we are going to separate the components of ink using the paper chromatography. Whatever ink is there, we are going to just separate it by using the paper chromatography method. So what we are going to do, we are just going to draw a line, a thick line just above the bottom of the filter paper using the marker. We will take a marker, and on this filter paper, we'll take a filter paper and we will just mark a line here. Okay, as shown in the figure, we will just arrange the equipments like this. Then pour some water into the beaker. Simply we are adding the water into this beaker. We are just keeping this beaker, and in this beaker we are adding the water. So what we are doing, we are just rolling up with this, we are rolling the paper on this pencil, and we are just placing the filter paper into the water, isn't it? So water should just touch, some part of the filter paper, but the whole, wherever you have marked that should not, dip in the water. Only some amount, some point of your filter paper should be dipping in the water. So what we'll do, we'll let the water move up. As we know, the water moves from low concentration to high concentration. So water gets absorbed and it will start moving up. Okay, after some time, remove this paper and dry up. After drying, you'll see that they are different. You see on this paper, filter paper, suppose this is your filter paper, you will see that they are different layers. Suppose this is black in color, you will find different layers of different lines of the colors are seen. Like if it is black, you will see red line, red, green, violet, black, all these colors are visible. And if you take a green, you repeat this with different markers. You can take a green marker also, and you'll see that there is a blue, green color on this filter paper. And when permanent markers is used, means we cannot find any change in the mark. If you're using a permanent marker, then you can see that there is no change in the mark. So liquid is again of two types. You can see that a liquid is called as immiscible. It is having two types, immiscible and miscible liquids. A liquid is said to be immiscible when it liquid is dissolved in liquid. You can dissolve it, right? So if a liquid is dissolved in liquid, then you can say that it is called as miscible. It can dissolve, both the liquids can dissolve. Example, you have alcohol and you have water. Okay, when you mix alcohol and water, you say that you cannot find a different layer between them, isn't it? Immiscible liquid means they cannot dissolve, they do not dissolve with each other. For example, you can say the oil and water. You can see oil and water, there is one layer is formed. Suppose you are adding alcohol and water, you can see that it is mixed. You cannot differentiate where is alcohol and where is water, isn't it? You cannot differentiate. But if you mix the water, suppose this is water and you are adding oil to it, then you can see that there is a layer formed. This is your oil. So there is a layer which differentiate the difference between oil and water. You can easily just differentiate the oil and water. So till now we have learned about the separation of different mixtures, isn't it? So how the separation of these liquids takes place when they are miscible and immiscible. So here we'll go with the immiscible liquids. When two liquids are immiscible, how the separation will take place. Okay. For this, you can see the picture here. You can see here there is a separating funnel. We'll add a kerosene, water and stopcock. Okay, simply what we are going to do, just pour the mixture of kerosene and water into this. Simply pour the mixture of kerosene and water into this separating funnel. Let it stand. Will not disturb it. We'll just keep it like that only without disturbing it. And after some times, the layer of oil and water will be visible to us. Then simply what we are going to do, we'll just open the stock down. You can see one stock cock there present. We'll just rotate it. Simply we'll just open for separating the funnel and pour out of the lower layer of water. Carefully we'll just remove the water. Then we'll close the stopcock of the separating funnel. As we reaches the oil layer, whenever we reach the oil layer, we'll just stop there itself and we'll just close it. And there you can see that oil is separated from water. So this is very easy. The immiscible liquids separate out into a layer depending on their densities. Okay. Now how we are going to separate the miscible liquids, the liquids which are dissolved into each other. Here we are going to use the process of distillation. Okay, you can see the picture here. Here you can see a clear apparatus how they are being arranged. So here you see that what we are going to do, we are going to just take a mixture of acetone and water. Because we know that alcohol and water dissolves into itself very easily. Matlab they combine very easily. They get dissolved with easily. So what we are doing, we are just adding the acetone and water in one distillation flask. This one, the big one which we can see, that is nothing but a distillation flask fitted with a thermometer. We are adding one thermometer in it and we'll just fix it to a stand. Then next what we are going to do, we are going to attach the condenser of the flask on one side. On the one side we are just going to add a condenser. On the other side of the condenser, keep a beaker to collect the distillate. Whatever is coming out of this condensation tube will be collected in another beaker, that is called as that has been collected in another beaker. Now heat the mixture slowly. Whatever acetone and water mixture is there in a beaker will just start heating up. Keep a close watch on the thermometer. Then The acetone vaporizes and condenses. Whatever acetone, as you know, alcohol gets vaporized, right? So that whatever is coming out will be just vaporized, and just through the condensate it will come out into the another tube. The acetone can be collected from the condenser outlet. Then water remains in the distillation flask. Whatever is present, that is after acetone getting condensed, and when it is moving to that a flask, which is a container which is present on the other side, then the whatever is remained is nothing but the water. The separation technique is used. This is nothing but this technique, or the apparatus what they are arranged, this is nothing but the method of distillation. That means the acetone will be collected into the another flask, that is it gets vaporized and it reaches and get the liquid which is coming into the another container is nothing but the acetone, and water remains into the flask. This process is called as distillation. Till here we have learned about the separation, isn't it? The substances which cannot be separated from each other is nothing but they are called as the pure substances. By any method, if they are not able to be separated, then it is called as pure substance. So we can even separate the sulfur and oxygen from the copper sulfate. How we are going to do that? Copper cannot be separated by any method from the copper sulfate except chemical reaction, and this copper is called as compound. These substances are called as these compounds. Okay, the compounds which cannot be separated by any method, like I said, they are called as pure substances, right? So pure substances, we have said it is a mixture, or they are in the form of mixtures also, and we have learned about the we have learned about the separation of it, isn't it? So here like we have copper sulfate. From copper sulfate we cannot separate copper, but it can be separated only by the process of chemical reaction. So hence this copper is called as compounds. So for this, what we are doing, we are taking a beaker. Okay, in a beaker what we are doing, we are adding the copper sulfate. We have just added here copper sulfate. This is nothing but this is called as copper sulfate. Okay, we have taken copper sulfate in the solution, and to this we have added an aluminium foil. What is this? Aluminium foil. And simply we'll keep this foil to be undisturbed for some times. After some times, what you will observe that there is a we'll observe that what has happened, the copper whichever is present, the copper whatever was present in the solution will form a layer around the aluminium foil, and this solution becomes colorless. So in this way the copper is being separated from the copper sulfate solution. So we have separated copper from the copper sulfate solution. In this way only the sulfur oxygen can be separated, because by using the chemical reactions only they can be separated. So here we see what is the difference between the mixture and the compounds. Mixtures are the elements or the compound just mixed together to form a mixture, and a new compound is formed. And here compounds, elements react to form a new compound. A mixture has a variable composition. The composition of new substances is always fixed. They are always fixed. Hence, they are a pure substance. A mixture shows the properties of the constituent substances. The new substance has totally different properties. Here, the mixture is showing the properties of the constituent substances. Whatever the substances is present in it, it is showing the properties of those substances. Wherein, in compounds, you can see the new substance has totally different properties. It is not having the similar properties. Whatever new substance is formed, it is having some different properties. The constituents can be separated firmly, easily by using the separation methods. As we have already learned, separation methods are used for the separation of this. Different physical methods are used for separating the constituents present in the mixtures, wherein the components can only be separated by some chemical or the electrochemical reactions. Okay, with this we complete our is matter pure chapter. I hope it is very understandable. If not, please go revise it twice so that it is you understand very better. Thanks for watching.